All right, we're back with another day. This one should be a little bit shorter for you guys. I know that, as you guys probably recognize, the graphing videos always take the longest to go through. We're going to be doing another day of this here. We're going to do more than one transformation, more than two transformations today. Here are the answers. And again, sometimes they don't choose the values that I teach you guys to use in their table. And you're going to notice that they have the parent function for all of them. You don't need to graph the parent function for everyone. It's going to be the same every single time. Okay, so quick recap on yesterday. Plus 3 made the graph go up 3. And so what it did is it looked like this here. Just to give you a quick overview, just took the horizontal asymptote, moved it up 3 units. This one plus 3 made the graph go to the left 3, and the reason for that is x cannot be equal to -3, and so what happened there was the vertical asymptote moved to the left 3, and so that's all it did. Now today what we're going to do is we're going to combine both those. We're going to move it left and right, and up and down, up or down. Okay, so this one's going to move left 3, up 3, and so by looking at that I can already plot my asymptotes right here. Which will definitely help, because then if my graph, oops, that was right 3. If my graph then does not sit nice and neat within those asymptotes, then that means I've done something wrong with my table, which is helpful. Okay, so there we go. I got my asymptotes, all right. All right, so I'm going to make my table. X, Y. Spots I'm going to need, just put a bunch there. I'm going to put -3 right there because that's where it's undefined at. And then I'm going to use -2.5, -2, -1, try that. And then -3.5, -4, -5, try those numbers there. Again, I'm trying to get you guys to use a half up and a half down when you're making your tables. So let's start with the -2.5. When I plug in -2.5, that's 1 over 1/2, which is, we've seen that a lot, that's 2 plus the 3. Don't forget about the plus 3 at the end. That gives me 5. Then we'll plug in -2 plus 3 is 1. 1 over 1 plus 3 is 4. Then plug in -1. 1 over -1 plus 3 is 1/2. Plus 3 is 3.5, and you're going to notice that these numbers approach 3. All right, let's plug in. I'm going to erase this just because my notes get really sloppy as we go through this. Okay, -3.5. 1 over -3.5 plus 3 is 1 over -1/2, which is -2 plus 3 is 1. And then plug in -4, 1 over -4 plus 3. And it's just PEMDAS, it's just arithmetic. If you guys haven't realized, over and over again, just arithmetic here. This would give me 1 over -1, which is -1 plus 3 is +2. And then how about 1 over -5 plus 3, and then plus 3. That would be 1 over -2, which is -1/2. Plus 3 is 2.5. And as you can see here, the numbers approach 3 as well. So let's go ahead and plot these points. -5, 2.5. -4, comma 2. And -3.5, comma 1. And you can see, look at that, boom, right there, nestled right into the asymptotes. -2.5, comma 5. -2, comma 4. And -1, 3.5. And also nestled right there into the asymptotes. Domain, all reals except for x cannot be equal to -3. Range, all reals except for y cannot be equal to +3. And this one's a vertical translation up 3, horizontal translation left 3. Okay, this one has a negative, so this one's going to be in quadrants 2 and quadrant 4, so that's just important to know. It's going to be a reflection. Actually, you know, I shouldn't say that. It's because, like, look at this one here. This one was in quadrant I mean, you can see here it's mainly in quadrant 2, even though, yeah, so I'm not actually going to use that terminology. We're just going to use the reflection terminology. Okay, this is going to move it to the left 1. This here is going to make it go up 2. So left 1 and up 2. Okay, so there we go. However, it's going to be here and there because that reflection. Okay, so when I'm making my table of values, x, y, I'm going to start with -1 right here because x cannot be equal to -1. And then I'm going to go -0.5, 0 and 1, -1.5, -2, and -3. Okay, let's start with -1/2. So -1 over -0.5 plus 1 plus 2. This would be -1 over 1/2. And if I do that math, that gives you -2 plus 2, which gives you 0. The fractions are the hardest parts. -1 over, now I'm going to plug in 0. 0 plus 1 plus 2. That's -1 divided by 1, which is -1 plus 2 is 1. And plug in 1. -1 over 1 plus 1 plus 2. That's -0.5 plus 2 is 1.5. I'm going to plot those points there quickly. -1/2, comma 0, 0, comma 1, and 1, comma 1.5. And you can see there, those points are nestled nice and neat into the asymptote. I'm going to erase this here just because this, as I mentioned earlier, does get a little bit messy. A lot of work to be shown here on these problems. -1 divided by, we're going to plug in -1.5 plus 1 plus 2. Okay, on the bottom, -1.5 plus 1 is -1/2. So -1 over -0.5, that gives us +2 plus 2 is 4. Okay, -1 divided by -2 plus 1, that leaves me with -1 over -1 plus the 2, so that's 1 plus 2 is 3. And one more, -1 divided by -3 plus 1 plus the 2. Alright, so that leaves me with -1 divided by -2, that's a +0.5. +0.5 plus the 2 is 2.5. Ooh, this is a lot of work, I will tell you that. So -1.5, comma 4 is up here. -2, comma 3 is right there, and -3, 2.5 is right here. So you can see the toughest part in this process is all of this arithmetic. It's just a lot of arithmetic. The domain, all reals except for x cannot be equal to -1. The range is all reals except for y cannot be +2. So here is your range, so to speak, and your domain, so to speak. It's all values but those two numbers there. Okay, I'm not going to do any more graphing. I'm just going to do the comparisons because you probably heard me do enough of these. And if you need more examples, when we meet up, I can definitely go over some sample questions for you guys. So this one's going to be left 1, and it's going to be down 3. This one's actually going to have a vertical stretch as well because of this 2 there. So, quick sketch, it's going to look something like that. This one's going to be left 5, or no, sorry, right 5. And this one's going to be up 6. And this one also would have a vertical stretch of 4, so this one would actually be really steep. But that's your quick sketch of that one. Not going to talk about that. Here's your assignment. You can see it's very short, only 20, 22, 24, 26, 20. There's 5 questions, and I believe one's not even a graphing question, so I believe there's 4 graphing. The reason why this assignment is short is because these problems take about 5 minutes each. Thanks guys for tuning in, appreciate it.